welcome to another episode of Talking Politics here at the Hindu with me, Nistula Hebbar, where we unpack the news making the headlines in domestic politics. This week, there can be no other story than basically history-making election that was held to elect the next Congress Party national president, ending 25 years of Nehru-Gandhi family being at the helm of affairs, uninterrupted 25 years, a quarter of a century almost. Mallikarjun Kharge is the new Congress president. He was elected in a face-off with Lok Sabha MP Shashi Tharoor, who had also thrown his hat in the ring, despite there being a general impression that Mr. Kharge was the party president endorsed, or the candidate endorsed by the Nehru-Gandhi family, by then interim president of the Congress, Sonia Gandhi. The influence of the Nehru-Gandhi family on the rank and file of the Congress meant that Mr. Kharge, with that kind of endorsement, was on his way to victory. But Shashi Tharoor did make a fight of it. He did get 1,072 delegate votes out of about 9,500. And I would say that that's a pretty good showing, despite not being the so-called official candidate. Well, basically, much of the conversation that had been around this election had been around about whether this was a totally democratic affair, because you had one candidate who was, part of the king's party, so to speak, who was backed by the current high command of the party, and another candidate who was coming in from the outside, who also kind of wanted support from the ginger group of the party, which inexplicably went towards Mr. Kharge. The G23, most of them shifted their votes to Mr. Kharge, signing on as proposers to his candidature, etc., etc. I think except Karti Chidambaram and one other person, most of the G23 shifted to Mr. Kharge's camp. Well, all of this talk about being proxy or not being proxy, whether this being a genuinely democratic exercise, etc. The point was that in any political party in India, such an election is a rare thing. So it was with great interest that everybody took notice of this exercise. And I would say that whether or not Mr. Kharge is the is the official candidate, etc., backed by official endorsement or not, the exercise itself was an education. Well, in this episode of Talking Politics, we will not talk about the niceties of that particular election, because we have already done a Talking Politics episode on that. What we will be talking about in this episode will frankly be what are the challenges facing Mr. Kharge. It's a crown of thorns at the moment to be party president in the Congress. The party is on a downslide in terms of not registering electoral victories, high rates of attrition, etc., etc. Electoral challenges coming up for which they don't seem to be very well equipped. So we will be looking at many of these challenges that lie before Mr. Kharge and what is the road ahead. Well, Mr. Kharge's joining the Congress presidential race was a direct fallout of Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot opting out after MLAs loyal to him revolted against the High Command's choice of Sachin Pilot as a replacement to Mr. Gehlot as Chief Minister. And basically, the plan was at that time to move Mr. Gehlot to Delhi, to establish Mr. Pilot as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan and basically solve the issue of Rajasthan, and also get a very good candidate for Congress president. Mr. Gehlot, of course, was not having any of it, and MLAs loyal to him had revolted large scale, had threatened to quit, etc. They were just not willing to accept Sachin Pilot as a replacement for Mr. Gehlot, and the Congress High Command basically had to call in Mr. Kharge as a last-minute replacement, and he obliged. Well, ironically, and this is of course ironic in that sequence of events, Mr. Kharge and former Union Minister Ajay Maken were the two central observers under whose watch the revolt took place. The revolt of the Rajasthan MLAs took place. It signaled a massive erosion of the authority of the office of the Congress president. Again, we have spoken about it in an earlier episode of Talking Politics. Now, Mr. Kharge's first job, I think one of the earliest jobs, is going to be to resolve the leadership tussle in Rajasthan, keeping in mind that the state goes for assembly polls in 2023, and BJP seems to have got its act together. the BJP is equally, if not more, divided in Rajasthan. But as of now, they seem to be pulling together. The Congress just has to kind of unite. And this revolt that has happened has had a very, very bad effect on the prospects of the Congress going into the 2023 assembly polls. The humiliation that the Rajasthan Congress MLAs had earlier heaped on the national leadership has to be dealt with. It cannot be the first order of business for Mr. Kharge. This is, in my view, entirely. I'm not saying that many experts have said it, but in my view, any reverses or repetitions of what the MLAs did earlier can only give a bad start to Mr. Kharge's presidency. So I would suggest that this cannot be the first thing that he deals with, but this has to be one of the early things he has to deal with because of the assembly elections coming up. But he needs to pick something where he can have an early victory that can be easily won. Well, Rajasthan doesn't seem to be that issue. Other than, of course, assembly elections in Rajasthan and how to get your house in order, even earlier than that is the electoral challenge of Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat. Gujarat is the home state of both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah. It's always going to be a challenging situation, although in 2017, again ironically, under the charge of Mr. Ashok Gehlot, the Congress had given the BJP a run for its money. Whether or not it is likely to do that in these elections is a huge question mark, because there has been a huge amount of chipping away of the Congress's organization by the BJP in this 5-year interregnum, and the entry of the Aam Aadmi Party into the electoral fray in both Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh is, in conventional wisdom, expected to chip away at the Congress's support base rather than the BJP. Basically, it might divide the opposition vote against the BJP and hand over victory to the BJP. This is again a huge issue for Mr. Kharge in the long run. It seems that the Aam Aadmi Party will provide a significant challenge to the Congress in the opposition space. We have seen in the past that the Aam Aadmi Party is very, very focused on going into areas where they feel the Congress Party has been, the organization has been on the decline, and the challenge that it has been posing to the BJP has been blunted. So they feel that they can provide that space in a state where otherwise there is a bipolar election, which is the BJP versus the Congress. That is another challenge that Mr. Kharge will have to face going into his presidentship. This is again a very large sort of big picture problem. This is not going to be settled in one election. It'll have to be consistently strategized against. He has some very solid HR problems also with regard to high attrition rates. Now, this is not just young people in the party like RPN Singh, etc., who feel that they've reached the end of the line as far as their ambitions are concerned, or they're finding it difficult to keep their supporters with them, but also seniors like Ghulam Nabi Azad, Captain Amrinder Singh, etc., who basically walked out of the party because they felt that the party was not going anywhere, it was not sorting out its organizational issues. Now is the time for Mr. Kharge to say, look, now I'm in charge, I will sort out organizational issues. Like any HR department of any organization, he will have to use carrot, stick, sugar cubes, and a whip to keep his rank and file in line, and basically streamline the party to face the BJP, which seems to be organizationally an extremely cohesive group. For all of this, he will also need to set up again a consultative mechanism from within the party, because in Sonia Gandhi's time, and this is from I'm culling all of this from the resignation letters, the many wordy resignation letters written by senior and junior leaders of the Congress who quit the party recently. Basically, they are saying that under Sonia Gandhi in UPA, there was a consultative mechanism, party leadership was accessible to leaders and workers alike, and a lot of discussion used to take place before any decision used to be taken. They felt had broken down. Also, specifically after the death of late Congress leader Amit Patel, all of this consultative mechanism, mediation, etc., had broken down. Rahul Gandhi's office was behaving basically the way they wanted to behave. They would take decisions uninformed later, or they would not take into account concerns expressed by leaders with regard to certain discussions. So basically, with all members of the Gandhi family also being politically active, we have Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, and Priyanka Vadra. Mr. Kharge has to ensure that multiple power centers are not created within the party, and that there is some institutional mechanism through which there is feedback and consultation and accessibility that is maintained enough so that the messaging of the party within the internal messaging on decisions, both internal and external, are on the dot. Then, of course, you have the 2024 general election. Any party president at the moment will have 2024 general elections looming large. You have Prime Minister Narendra Modi going strong, probably en route to winning 2024 as well. As of now, one needs to put together a big fight for that election. Opposition parties, especially regional outfits, seem to be in no mood to accommodate what they see is a Congress in Goma to be a leader of the opposition phalanx. You have Telangana Rashtra Samiti leader K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Telangana Chief Minister, who has renamed his party as Bharat Rashtra Samiti to give a more national perspective to his view. And he wants to bring all the regional parties together and fight the BJP in each of these states where these parties are strong, and then, of course, to come out with a political formation there. He doesn't seem to have any time for the Congress. There are other parties which don't seem to have time for the Congress. Congress insists that you cannot have an opposition grouping without it. For any party to legitimize a leadership position, electoral victory is important. So it's pretty much chicken and an egg situation for Mr. Kharge. It's a crown of thorns, of course, because, as I said earlier, the Congress party is on a downward spiral. We don't know where it will get arrested. And therefore, my editorial note to the challenges faced, on the issue of the challenges faced by Mr. Kharge, as he kind of takes over as Congress president of a 137-year-old party, is that put his own house in order first. Battles always begin from within. Unless you are a cohesive unit, ideologically and in terms of aims and goals, strategy and tactics, if you're not completely aligned, there is really no point in going into battle. Yes, you have the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which is about reaching out to the people. That can be a parallel process that is anyway under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. For Mr. Kharge, I would say, put your house in order, get the organizational issues of the party sorted out, arrest the attrition, and the party may yet get back on course to providing a credible alternative to the BJP at the moment. This is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week, and happy Diwali.